So you've ended the nightmare looming over Lumiose, and helped Ansha realize her dream of meeting the fine Legendary. But your journey through Mega Dimension is far from over. From special scans to secret side quests, and even one final rogue Mega to take down, this DLC is absolutely packed with more Legendary and Mythical Pokémon than any before. So let me show you how to catch them all. Chances are, after beating Rayquaza, your map will be full of unfinished side quests. And while completing every single one will eventually reward you with this game's true ending, today we're going to be focusing on just the ones that lead to legendary encounters. And it all begins with a call from Corbeau. Having a chat with our short king, he introduces us to a new mechanic called Special Scans. Every time you collect 25,000 research points in Hyperspace, we can have Philippe run one of these special scans to make a 5-star Hyperspace distortion appear. These, however, are completely randomized and can vastly vary, from wild zones with special groups of Pokemon, some of which can only be found in these 5-star distortions, and also 5-star battle zones, where you can earn special rewards like bottle caps and apricorn balls from the trainers, and super rare items from the floating Pokeballs. But if you're really lucky, you might just get a golden question mark distortion to appear. And these are guaranteed to contain either a legendary or mythical Pokemon within. But like I said, pulling them is totally random, and worst of all, you can't soft reset to get a different special scan, meaning you'll have to go out and get another 25,000 points each time you get a distortion you didn't want. At least the DLC spawns a new rogue Mega to fight every in-game day, from which you can get an easy 10,000 points. So taking 2 of these down and clearing all the missions in one regular distortion should have you set for another special scan. You also get a lot of points from completing the missions in 5-star distortions. So even if it's one you've done before or don't care about, doing the missions in there will get you almost halfway to the next 25k points, potentially faster than if you had fought another rogue. But what really makes this whole grind worth it is that most of these legendaries have a chance to be shiny. So let's get started with the Swords of Justice. Now, I've never been much of a shiny hunter, but Mega Dimensions made it easier than ever to get these particular legendaries to sparkle, all thanks to the power of donuts. There are plenty of guides already out there on how to make the best donuts, so I'll link the ones I used in the description below. But by using Sparkling Power Level 3 donuts, you can get as low as a 1 in 600 chance of them being shiny. Each one has a specific method of shiny hunting though. So let's start with Cobalion, since it's probably the simplest. All you have to do is run back and forth from the point you see it spawn to the pillars of this bridge and keep repeating that until it eventually shines. Terrakion is just slightly more complicated, as you'll instead have to use this teleporter near where it spawns, then teleport again and walk up until you see it, rinse and repeat until it's shiny. Finally, we have Virizion, which can be found hiding in a clearing between these rooftops. But you can get it to respawn without actually seeing it by running back and forth between these 2 lampposts, and when your calories are close to running out, go up the ladder and check if Virizion's shiny. But sadly, the final, sometimes honorary member of the Swords of Justice cannot be shiny in this game. But you can definitely find at least regular Keldeo within one of these special 5-star gold scans, and after catching it, just teach it the move Secret Sword to have it transform into its Resolute form. It's a very similar story for Meloetta, which can also be encountered in a gold star distortion, but never as a shiny. Funny enough, these are the only 2 I've yet to find myself, so huge shout out to Mixelli and Random Ram for the footage of these. As you can see, Meloetta can also change into its special form by using the move Relic Song even outside of battle, and it'll remain in pirouette form until it faints or uses Relic Song again. But there are 2 more legendary Pokemon we can encounter via special scan. Again, pulling their specific portals is totally random, but once you do get lucky enough, you'll actually be able to shiny hunt these 2 as well. Latios appears up on the rooftops to the right from where you spawn, but to get her to appear as a shiny, you'll have to keep running back and forth from where these Muna spawn down to the edge of this roof where there are normally some Curlia, and do that over and over until you eventually see its golden wings. And as for Latios, reaching it in the first place can be a little bit complicated, so just follow along my path here and make sure to stop before going up this second teleporter. You'll want to save your game right on top of it, as Latios spawns as soon as you teleport up, meaning you can soft reset and every time you load up the game, there will be a chance for Latios to be shiny.
Oh my god!
That said, it took me 3 days to find this one, but I can at least testify the method actually works. So if you're trying to shiny hunt these legendaries, don't give up. But the story of Latios and Latias doesn't end after just catching them. As you may know, they're also capable of Mega Evolution. But obtaining their Mega Stones can be quite the challenge, starting with reaching the distortion itself. You'll find this archway around the back of Wild Zone 4, and climbing up the scaffolding here, you can reach this roof from which you can rotoglide across over to the roof where the distortion is. Inside you'll find the real challenge, a set of supernatural siblings that'll challenge you to a completely unfair fight, 2 versus 1, where they of course use Mega Latios and Mega Latias, both at level 200. Thankfully, I brought Mega Rayquaza and was able to one-shot Mega Latios as the fight started, which didn't mean the rest of the fight was a cakewalk, though I did accidentally use a mere 3-star donut, so I definitely recommend using a stronger donut for a slightly more even fight. But after dealing with this disturbing duo, you'll earn yourself the Latiosite and Latiasite, which you can of course use to Mega Evolve your own majestic Latin dragons. With that, we wrap up every single legendary and mythical you can obtain through Special Scan. But there are of course a lot more to find across Lumiose. So let's continue with perhaps one of the most forgotten. Heading over to the Pokemon Research Lab, you'll find that Acting Professor Mabel has some bad news. She seems to have stumbled upon a mysterious hacked Pokeball, containing within it quite a special specimen. According to Mabel, Team Flare had been experimenting with Pokeballs, resulting in this Volcanion getting trapped inside for at least the last 5 years. So once she lets it out, it is understandably pissed and will have to calm it down. This whole hacked Pokeball idea may be a reference to how Volcanion was only ever made available through limited time events, so many players actually had hacked versions of Volcanion, as cheating was the only way to get it if you missed these release windows. But the truly bizarre part of this whole side quest is where the fight takes place. See, I still remember the rumors of Volcanion being hidden beneath the Kalos power plant, or that we would encounter it in Southern Kalos if Pokemon Z happened. Of course, it didn't, but we now have its spiritual successor in Legend ZA. So where do we encounter this long-lost mythical? Mabel calls it the lab's basement, but we can all clearly see this is perhaps the blandest arena we've ever seen in a Pokemon game. Could Game Freak really not be bothered to design a battlefield? Or are they just adding on to the joke of Volcanion truly being the most forgotten? We may never know the real answer. But I'm at least happy we finally get to catch this Pokemon for ourselves, even if the whole side quest feels like they're rubbing it in. With the professor and, for some reason, Yvonne, the random marathon running lady from the ZA Royale, teasing us with Volcanion's actual lore. Of course, we don't actually get to go there, or even get a glimpse of these mountains via Hyperspace, as instead we fight it in Mabel's basement. To add insult to injury, they even had the audacity to give Heatran a Mega Evolution, which looks really cool, don't get me wrong, but we're in Kalos, not Sinnoh. This could have definitely been a Mega Volcanion instead. A cruel cherry on top to Volcanion's already miserable legacy. At least you get to catch it in whatever Pokeball you want. I briefly brought up the whole Kalos mythical trio, and assuming you've caught Diancie through the bonus side mission you get in Mystery Gift, that somehow leaves only the mythical we all assume would probably be the easiest to get in this DLC. So let's head back to Hotel Z and get ourselves a Hoopa. It's actually quite easy to get. So first talk to your rival hanging out by Ansha's Donuts, and they'll hand over a mysterious item they found while cleaning AZ's room, the prison bottle. Most of you probably know this allows Hoopa to change into its unbound form, but we don't even have a Hoopa yet, and Ansha seems way too afraid of the bottle, so luckily just then Corbeau calls in about a special distortion that's appeared in the blue sector. I wonder what could be inside. To reach it, we can use this scaffolding located near Wild Zone 10. Climb the scaffolding and make your way across the roofs until you reach this enclosed park area. There will only be one Pokemon to face within, and it won't exactly be the toughest battle, so don't go wasting your good donuts on it. Surprise, surprise, it's Hoopa Unbound! A more powerful dark and psychic type form of the mischievous mythical that's been helping us throughout all of Mega Dimension. Being 4 times weak to bug type means using bug moves will absolutely destroy this dude. but sadly you won't get to catch it in a unique Pokeball. In fact, you don't get to catch it at all, as a cutscene takes care of that for you. Wait a minute, was that an invisible Pokeball? So back at Hotel Z, we get to see that this Hoopa is actually slightly bigger than Ansha's, and doesn't seem at all afraid of the Prism Bottle, which means you can use it to change its form whenever you wish. I'm a little confused what this means for the lore though, since we know Hyperspace is created from subconscious thoughts. So was that Hyperspace created by Ansha's Hoopa, containing within it a stronger doppelganger of itself? Maybe Ansha's Hoopa was unbound in the past. I mean, we get a little flash of it during the climactic cutscene. But if it is just a dream, how is it we're able to catch and bring this other Hoopa back to reality? There's still a lot I don't really understand about Hyperspace, so let me know what you think in the comments. Regardless, I'm really happy they gave us our own Hoopa, because it would have been really sad at taking Ansha's away. Next, let's take a trip across the seas to the tropical paradise of Alola. At least in spirit, because you can't actually leave Lumiose, of course. But the Alolan Suns somehow made its way to Kalos in the form of its many mythical Pokemon, starting with the man-made marvel Magearna. After taking down Rayquaza, a new side mission will appear in Quasartico, where everyone's favorite dad, Vinny, seems to be having some trouble with his daughter's birthday, as she's requested quite an unusual gift: the disguised Pokemon Mimikyu. If you've already caught one, just hand it over to Vinny and the quest will be done lickety-split. But if you don't have a Mimikyu, it can be found inside 3-star Ghost-type distortions. Of course, these pop up completely at random, so just keep resting on a bench until eventually one appears. After completing Vinny's request, there should be another mission that pops up in Quasartico. This time we'll find the CEO Jet standing next to an unusually large Pokeball. I'm sure most of you know this isn't just a Pokeball though, so talk to Jet to learn about the man-made mythical known as Magearna. Apparently it's stuck in this dormant state, and the only possible way to awaken it is by exposing it to a Mega Stone. Except Magearna's never had a Mega Stone, so I guess Quasartico's just gonna create one? This doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because I'm pretty sure we've seen Magearna curled up like this in previous games and movies, but to actually obtain it, we'll need a cool 999 Mega Shards. There's a chance you may already have them stocked up, but if you don't, they're very easy to gather in Hyperspace. So go break some clusters and come back to Jet to activate the magical powers of Cutscene, where seemingly in seconds, they'll have created an entirely new Megastone, the Magearnite. I've seen some people theorize whether this means Quasartico can now create Megastones for any Pokemon, but I think it's more likely this is a special case for Magearna since it is an artificial Pokemon, so it makes sense for it to have an artificial Megastone. Like with Volcanion, I can't help but feel like this quest is a bit underwhelming, at least in the sense that we don't really learn much about Magearna. But the same cannot be said about its Mega Evolution, as it may just be one of my favorites in all of Legends ZA, both in design and power. But there's still plenty more mythicals to collect, and next we have another rather obscure one from Alola. The mystery of Marshadow begins by talking to this burly fella just outside of Wild Zone 6. Apparently we met this dude at some point during the main story, but honestly, I don't remember him. Either way, he's leading an investigation into supernatural occurrences around the city, including reports of one mysterious ghostly woman. I'm starting to think Lumiose Ghost Girl might just still be hidden somewhere out there in ZA. But more recently there's been reports of a ghostly child appearing when the grandest shadow's tip pierces the center of a red and white circle. We're playing Pokemon, so obviously red and white circle refers to a Pokeball, but the rest of the riddle's a little trickier. The grandest point in Lumiose is of course Prism Tower, and though it's definitely seen better days, you might notice the tower's tip still casts a massive shadow over Centrical Plaza that moves as the day goes on. So I went for a stroll around this central plaza and eventually found this battlefield near the Centrico Pokemon Center. Lo and behold, you can investigate the center of its Pokeball. So now all that's left to do is wait. In case you didn't know, this ring around the minimap will tell you the time of day, and we'll need to wait until there's around a quarter of it left, right when the sun begins to set. At this point, you'll see the tower's shadow finally start crossing over the center of this Pokeball, so let's go ahead and investigate again. For so many years, and especially in the 3DS era, so many mythical Pokemon had their stories told exclusively through the Pokemon anime movies. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but there hasn't been a movie in a while. I guess there also haven't been nearly as many mythicals, with Pecharunt being the only one from Scarlet and Violet. My point is, we get to see more of the mythicals in the actual game now, and for the vast majority, we even get to battle them. As its name implies, Marshadow hides in the shadows, but it's actually a ghost and fighting type, hence are encountering it in a battlefield. Just like Volcanion though, we'll actually have to catch this one. So if you want to get it in a cool or unique Apricorn Ball, I definitely recommend putting it to sleep and dropping its HP down as low as you can without actually knocking it out. Though, if you do happen to accidentally kill it, don't worry, the game will let you try and try again until you do. Honestly, we don't get to learn much more about Marshadow either, but thinking about it, mythicals are supposed to be myths. Most people in the Pokemon world might not even know they exist, which you'll see applies to the next Pokemon too. Though it's technically unclassified in Pokemon Home, I've always considered Meltan and its evolution Melmetal as the last Pokemon from Alola. Maybe just because they were a big part of the anime, but first introduced in Pokemon Go, the ever-peculiar Meltan can still only be evolved into Melmetal within that specific game, but we can at least encounter both individually here in Legends EA. It's actually quite close to where we found Marshadow, so if you find yourself having to wait for sunset, you can make a quick stop by the Bank of Kalos to catch this squishy little nut. And the quest itself is definitely the most straightforward and easiest so far. Literally just walk up, talk to this lady, and you'll get to battle Meltan. Fun fact, this Pokemon actually has the lowest base stats of any mythical, making it very easy to accidentally knock out, which is how I learned that even if you do fail to catch any of these, the game will just give you another chance. As for its evolution Melmetal, immediately after catching the baby, a hyperspace hole will appear behind where it was encountered. Curiously enough, it's only a 1-star distortion, so don't go wasting your precious donuts, because there's no shiny hunting this guy either, or even a battle to be had with it at all, as once inside you'll see quite a curious scene.
One of us, Gooble gobble, Gooble gobble, one of us, Gooble gobble, one of us.
After whatever that was, Melmetal will be automatically added to your squad, meaning you sadly can't catch it in a custom Pokeball, but again, it's really nice to see these mythical Pokemon made a lot easier to obtain in the core series games. And with those two weirdos collected, we have just one more mythical from Alola to encounter. But considering it's basically the secret boss of this DLC, I think it's best we save it for last, and instead go after perhaps the most out-of-place inclusion in Mega Dimension. Like many of the other mythicals in this DLC, Genesect was previously only ever obtainable through limited-time Wi-Fi downloads. If you managed to get one though, there was at least a little event back in the Unova games where you got to learn about its lore, basically being a Mewtwo-like experiment created by Team Plasma, who even attached that signature cannon onto its back. Fast forward 15 years and we finally get to catch this dude in-game for the first time. In order to obtain this overgrown cockroach, we'll first need to pay a visit to the shady TM dealer in an alley behind Wild Zone 17. If you didn't know this guy was here, well, now you do. And normally he'll trade Mega Shards for a bunch of new TMs added in the DLC. But after defeating Rayquaza, he'll start selling a new type of items, the drives, and you'll need to purchase all 4 of them to unlock Genesect's quest. This means quite a few trips back and forth through Hyperspace since each drive costs 540 Mega Shards, so you can only buy one at a time. But after getting all 4, your new best friend will send a mystery location to your phone. Personally, I wouldn't go showing up to sketchy address like this, but this is the Pokemon world, so what's the worst that could happen? What the heck? It's a secret distortion! Let's see what we find inside. I know it's not going to be special, but... okay, never mind. Maybe I spoke too soon. It is just Full Moon Island again, or at least it looks like it, but still, it's kind of special. Whoa, okay, it's just standing there? Menacingly? Oh my god! That's creepy. Despite being a 5-star distortion, the only thing to find within the zone is Genesect, so you definitely don't need a 5-star donut. But I do recommend using one with catching power, as it'll make Genesect's low catch rate a lot more manageable. It is of course a bug and steel type, so basically, kill it with fire, and I wanted mine in a Beast Ball, which normally has less than a 1% chance of catching non-Ultra Bees, but thanks to that catching power donut, we can bump that all the way up to nearly a 1 in 3 chance of catching. And luckily, I managed to do it on my last attempt. Now, you might have noticed this Hyperspace looks a whole lot like the one in which we encountered Darkrai. I don't know if it's an exact copy-paste, maybe I'll compare on screen, but it really feels like Game Freak got a little lazy here, and I don't like throwing that term around, but I can't think of any lore-related reasons why Genesect would be in New Moon Island. I know it's just a dream or subconscious world or whatever, but I really wish they designed at least a few more unique arenas for these. With that, we're finally down to the last mythical Pokemon obtainable in Mega Dimension. Zeraora may just be the most involved in the DLC story, serving as the final rogue Mega Evolution we face off against. But unlocking this ultimate showdown will be a whole lot trickier than any of the side quests we've done so far. To get started, you'll of course need to have beaten Rayquaza, but as an extra requirement specifically for Zeraora, you'll also need to have completed the extra side missions for Diancie and Mewtwo, both of which I've covered in past videos, so check them out if you haven't done them yet. Once you've got both, the hunt for the Plasma Pokemon can officially begin. So head over to Racine Construction, where Old Man Tarragon's taken up a new side venture, selling canary bread in the DLC, but only one per day. Thankfully we just need the one, but what you do with it may just be the most vague thing in this whole DLC. We're gonna need to make our way to this rooftop in Vert Sector 3, the exact spot we once fought Rogue Mega Dragonite in the base story. Except this time you'll find this strange little kid, who will offer to trade just about any item in the game for mostly useless garbage, but if you trade him the canary bread specifically, he'll hand over something quite unique, the popping candy. Its description says it's very popular among the children of Lumiose, and that's your hint to take it to the one kid you probably know best, back in Hotel Z of course. Do I hear the crinkle of candy? PSA, kids, don't take candy from strangers, but we're not a stranger to Ansha, so I guess it doesn't really apply here. I think I'd like to try some if that's alright. Okay. It's literally the sound of Pop Rocks. That's awesome. The flavors and sensations of the popping candy inspire Ansha to come up with a new donut recipe, the Plasma Donut. Thankfully, this one's a lot more flexible in the berries you can use to create it, but if you happen to be missing some, make sure to look inside 4-star Hyperspace zones, as these contain the rarest and strongest flavors of berries in the floating Pokeballs. Immediately after making the Plasma Donut, you'll receive a distress call from Detective Emma, as it seems a distinctive distortions appeared near the train station where our entire Lumiose journey first began. Truly a full circle moment here, as we're joined by Karina and Emma herself to face off against Rogue Mega Zeraora. Though it remains a pure electric type, there's something weird going on with this Mega. It could just be specific to this Rogue battle, or perhaps hinting at Mega Zeraora's future ability, but you'll notice that it can still hurt ground-type Pokemon that would normally be immune to electric attacks. Like I said, it's most likely because the battle would have been way too easy if you could just tank all its hits with a ground type, but I still found it easiest to take down with a ground Pokemon like, oh my god, okay, I almost died right there. My new favorite, Mega Excadrill. Alright, Earthquake and one more drill run should finish it. Yes! Let's go, Rossetti! Once defeated, you are guaranteed to catch this Zeraora, so take advantage of that and use whatever Pokeball you like most. And with that, you'll finally have obtained every single legendary and mythical Pokemon in Mega Dimension. Believe it or not, there's still so much more left to do in this DLC. Mainly just a ton of side quests, which I don't think I'll be making a video covering every single one. But if you do want to see what happens when you do complete all of them, I've actually already posted the final battle of Legend ZA. And honestly, that might just be my last Legend ZA video. I've never felt so burnt out with a Pokemon game. Not sure if anyone else feels that way, but the DLC just is a little too repetitive for my taste. That said, I really enjoyed the story, and as you've seen throughout this video, I love how many legendaries they were able to pack into the game itself. So let me know which of these side quests was your favorite in the comments below, and your thoughts on Mega Dimension overall. I'm really curious to hear how you guys felt about the DLC. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for much more Munch in 2026.